We all go a little mad sometimes.
Did you know I'm utterly insane?
Whatever you do, don't fall asleep.
Be afraid. Be very afraid.
You know, it's Halloween. I guess everyone's entitled to one good scare, huh?
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
Look at me, Damien. It's all for you.
Look what you did to him.
Red rum, red rum, red rum.
Welcome back to Movie Mingle. I'm Caveman.
And I'm Maggie.
And we're on our last Halloween bonus episode of the spooky
episode.
Season.
Yeah. I managed to make it through the spooky season, not completely hating my life.
We're doing Abigail.
From 2024.
We had a tough time deciding on specifically what our last episode was going to be on.
Yeah, bounced it around a couple times.
We were possibly going to see some Salem's Lot that just came out on HBO, I think.
Yeah, but we opted not to.
I really tried, guys. I really tried to get Maggie to watch The Thing.
Was not happening?
My favorite horror film of all time.
That seriously is your favorite horror film of all time?
The Thing?
Yeah. Of all time. Of all the horror movies you've watched, The Thing is your favorite?
Yeah.
Interesting.
There's another horror movie that I would say is the best. There's the best horror movie, and then there's my favorite.
Okay, so it's the best.
The original Alien.
Oh, okay. I'm really scared by that.
There's some good jump scares in this movie.
In this movie, yes.
There's some good jump scares in the other ones, too.
But I am so genuinely terrified of the aliens, I can never watch it. And I will never watch it. Sorry. No, don't you dare. I see that glint in your eye where you're like, I'm going to make her have to watch it. I will not watch it.
I just want you to watch The Thing one day.
Fine. One day I will watch The Thing.
One day.
For your birthday, I will watch The Thing.
Ooh, happy birthday to me.
Mm-hmm.
But we ended up landing on Abigail.
Yes.
Mainly because ever since Maggie and I saw the trailer to this movie, we were like, that looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah, like that doesn't look like it's terrible. It looks dark and entertaining, and that's the kind of as previously. Okay, I'm not going to beat a dead horse here, but of the horror genre,
dead, for sure,
and it's a ghost spooky horror.
Spooky. You beat that dead horse so much that now it's haunting us. Oh my god. Make me spit beer all over the equipment.
Maybe I just needed a really good hit. Of the horror movies that I am willing to watch,
yes,
I do prefer a good comedy horror. Because
True.
I like to, it's not just spooky and creepy.
Yes.
It's fun characters, funny situations. And typically, for most of the horror comedies that I like, they are bloody. But I've never seen a movie this bloody.
Really?
I don't think so. Not in a long time.
Let me introduce you to The Boys.
No, thank you. This was pretty... And I've seen some clips of The Boys. Like, I saw the guy inside the penis blow up. Like, I've seen some stuff of The Boys. It's not like I haven't given it a chance. But no, this movie is spectacularly bloody. But I say that we get into it, the nuts and bolts of it, and then we can talk at length about... why I really love this movie and why I'm pretty sure you loved it too, right?
I did.
Yeah, we had a grand old time watching this time.
It was so much more fun watching this one.
Yes.
Than
watching It Follows.
No.
Because
you did.
Yes, this is true.
You did, but It Follows was not a comedy horror.
No.
This movie knows what it was, what it was trying to be. It wasn't trying to make itself more elaborate than it was meant to be, and it wasn't just sloppily put together to make a buck for horror films.
This is a well done film.
This is well done and highly entertaining. A little predictable.
Oh yeah,
but horror movies are.
Yeah, and you know what? It's okay because there were some turns and some moments that I genuinely didn't see coming and thoroughly enjoyed.
Sure.
So
yeah, we'll get into
we'll get to that. We are going to, by the way, spoil the shit out of this film. So if you haven't seen it, really do yourself a favor. It's an hour 40. hour 45.
Hour 49.
Yeah, somewhere in there. With credits and all. It's a succinct film. It is to the point. There's very little dead air. It moves quickly. It's a ton of fun. It's very bloody. And there were some parts that had me gagging and unable to look at the screen. Because the special effects are really good. Go put it on and watch it. I promise you'll enjoy it. If you like horror movies at all, if you like horror comedy like I do, this one has our recommendation. So go watch it and then come back and listen to this.
Abigail was directed by Matt Bettinelli, Olpin, and Tyler Gillette, Gillette.
They are a directing partnership, I believe. They've done a couple other movies. Nothing that I've seen offhand, but I would watch Ready or Not, because that looks like a fun one, too. I think these guys have a kind of a really good way of doing, like, accessible comedy horror in a way that I have thoroughly enjoyed thus far. Because I had wanted to see Ready or Not for a while, although it's only got wow, looking at the ratings on IMDb, they're not great, which is shocking. But yeah, like
6.9 is not terrible.
Great.
Abigail got 6.6 on
that
IMDb.
Makes. I guess it's
Scream
on 10,
6 got
right?
6.5, which I was going to say. Of their two Screams, they did Scream 2022, which they just went back to just calling it Scream.
Yeah.
And then in the next year, they did Scream 6 and actually gave it a Roman numeral. The main character in Abigail, Joey.
Yes.
Unless you don't, well, the main character, the titular character is Abigail.
No, Joey's the main character.
Joey's the main character.
Yeah.
She's the main character in both of their Scream movies that they've done. The better of the two was definitely the Jenna Ortega one, which I really enjoyed. The other movie that they did together that I know is popular, but I never saw it, or its sequel, or its spin-off, it's had a few now, is VHS.
Which I vaguely recognize, but I don't know. Like, the cover looks familiar, all the VHS tapes filming a skull.
Yeah. VHS is popular with horror fans. It's like a mid-tier horror movie. I've just never gotten around to it.
Do you know anything about Ready or Not?
I don't.
It's essentially a movie about a woman that marries into this wealthy family, and at the ceremony, it turns out that a family tradition is to play a game of hide and seek. And it gets progressively bloodier and scarier, and let's just say it's less hide and seek and more like, she's now being hunted, the bride's now being hunted, and if she can survive, she can be part of the family, or something crazy like that. I don't know the full plot. I'm glad I don't, because I really look forward to going into it. But I've heard nothing but good things, and it looks delightfully funny.
Oh yeah, and it stars Margot Robbie's twin.
Yes.
That I always confuse sometimes for Margot Robbie.
No.
Samara Weaving.
Yeah, I've heard enough good things. Plus the cast is pretty solid. It's got Mrs. McMurray in it, Adam Brody. Yeah, so and it's on Hulu. So if you ever want to watch it, I'd be happy to watch it with you. Annie McDowell's in it. This looks fun.
Abigail was written by Stephen Shields, who worked on TV shows, I believe, British TV shows, but a horror movie called The Hole in the Ground. It's a DirecTV exclusive, but it's produced by A24. It's about a creepy Irish kid, is what I got from it. And another movie called Hunted, which is a Polish film, which the description for this film read, "Once upon a frenzied time, woman meets man, woman dances with man, man kisses woman, man grips woman, woman escapes man, man chases woman. Nothing new? Or is there?"
Okay.
That was such a long and pointless.
That was a journey to get there. Right? That was as long as the movie itself.
I don't think I've seen a Polish film before, but maybe that'll be it. Abigail was also written by Guy Busick, who also wrote the 2022 Scream and Scream 6 and season 2 of Castle Rock, which you and I didn't really watch. We watched season 1. We loved it. One of the writers that we really liked
wasn't in season 2.
Mark Bernardin. Yeah. He wasn't in season 2. And I thought it was going to be, the way it ended, I thought it was going to
be a continuation.
Be a continuation because they were teasing the Outlook Hotel.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, that sounds like a lot of fun. And then it ended up, as far as I know, ended up going a different direction.
Yeah, it went in an odd way.
And was not reviewed well.
Yeah.
And I just...
We're also not that big Stephen King fans. Like, not really. We don't follow him. Like, it's not like we don't like... It's not that we don't like his work. We just don't...
We're not obsessed with him.
Yeah, we don't follow
like
everything
that he does. We have to
Yeah.
consume. The music was from Brian Tyler, who has worked on 148 projects, including Timeline with Paul Walker and Jared Butler.
Mm-hmm.
Gerard. He's actually, the majority of his projects that he's worked on, he did as a conductor, not a composer.
Interesting.
But the ones that he did compose, the ones that I at least recognized real fast, we've got Constantine with Keanu Reeves, which I really like that movie.
Mm-hmm.
Can't say I remember the music right at this moment,
Nope.
but Dragon Ball Evolution, which was a terrible movie.
Yeah.
Fast 4 through 10.
Oh, wow.
Happy Death Day, which I just watched today.
And how was the music?
Fine.
Yeah.
I don't really remember.
Yeah, his music
really
here
memorable.
was fine. Honestly, the song that I walked away from this movie humming to myself all day has been, a part of Swan Lake. So.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So,
wait till we get into that for Black Swan.
Oh, yeah.
You really hear it in that one.
Yeah. You've never seen Black Swan, Swan Lake in person, have you?
No.
I have. I saw it with my friend Karen with the Tolstoy? No, I forget the name of the ballet company, but it's the ballet company that Swan Lake was written for. Like, that ballet was written specifically for a famous Russian ballet company for them to perform and perform only. And other people obviously have gone on to do it. Plenty of people have gone on to do it. But this particular, ballet company is still doing
the
original version of Swan Lake. And it was beautiful.
Oh, I'm sure it was.
God damn, it was beautiful. I can't say I understood a lot of it. But fuck. That's something to see with your own eyeballs.
He also did the music for Transformers 1. The animated one that just came out that I've heard good things about.
Good things.
And then he also did some MCU films like Age of Ultron, Thor 2, Iron Man 3.
Okay. Not stellars, though. None of those were
standout.
No.
Cinematography was done by Aaron Morton, who also worked on The First Omen, which I saw earlier this year and enjoyed, but it wasn't one of my favorites of the year or in general. He also did Evil Dead 2013 version, which is also a fun movie. Not as goofy as the original Evil Dead, but it's supposed to be more... It is meant to be scarier, and it's done by the same guy who also did Alien Romulus this year. This guy definitely has an eye for horror films or how to film a horror film. He did the playtest episode for Black Mirror, which stars Wyatt Russell as he's the main character. You can really tell that this cinematographer has an eye for what a horror movie should look like, feel like.
Yeah.
This one, this one's over the top because it's a comedy, and there's some ridiculous situations.
Yes. Good God.
But movies like Evil Dead and The First Omen are definitely a little more serious, and Playtest is probably their best scary episode. So I really like this guy's, especially in Playtest, horror
his
look,
style.
his style.
Cool.
Abigail is certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes with 83%.
Which is great.
I remember when this movie came out, I didn't know what it was going to be. I didn't know if it was just going to be overly silly and campy. And
it was nice to see it get good reviews.
It got good reviews, and I was like, oh, that would have been fun to actually see. And it got an 84% from audiences, so the audiences and critics were pretty much on the same page with that.
Yeah, they were
one.
pleased enough with it.
It was made for $28 million, made 26 domestic.
Okay, so just under.
Another 17 internationally.
Okay. So just over.
And just $43 million. So
that's not bad.
Not bad. I
For
wish it could have gone a little better.
Yeah.
Just because
I think it was something
biased because how much I liked it.
It also could have been something that most people were like, I'll just watch it when it streams. I know that you tend to find...
That was us.
Because they don't... So, they don't really release the numbers of the people that buy the movie when it comes out digitally. Because it always comes out... I mean, Deadpool and Wolverine is still in theaters, and it's also available to buy as a digital download, right?
Yeah.
So I wonder how many people, like, what the home movie sales or the home media sales are of movies these days that go, you know, because physical media is basically out. We were at Target today, and all the movies were just gone.
Yeah, not a single
Blu-ray,
Blu-ray
across the board, just gone.
They have vinyl and books still.
Which the fact that they have vinyl
right.
is insane. Because like I know that Taylor Swift has a lot of exclusive Target vinyls, and actually a lot of companies do. Any of the new ones, though, always have like a Target exclusive.
Yeah.
Like it's usually colored vinyl.
Colored vinyl, yeah.
It's just funny that like people aren't watching Blu-rays anymore to watch their movies, but they're still listening to vinyl.
We're going in a weird direction when it comes to media.
Weird direction when it comes to media. And Caveman even said like it's gonna suck for like our children's generation to grow up and they're, you know, where everything is streaming at some point and you don't own it, you know,
because the way right now that it's working, you can't always count on certain movies being on any platform.
Mm-mm.
There are some times where I'm looking for a certain movie and it's not streaming anywhere.
Yeah, and our only choice is like to rent it from Amazon or just flat out buy it.
I don't want to. If the amount of movies that I want to watch, and spend $4 a pop, it wouldn't be cheap.
No.
I have a lot of movies that I want to watch that aren't streaming anywhere, but you wait long enough.
Yeah, eventually they will.
I've been catching some recently that finally have moved onto streaming.
And sometimes you find it on a really fucking obscure streaming channel out of the blue, and you're like, well, I have to watch commercials through it, but I'm willing.
I was watching Tubi randomly for something because a movie I wanted to watch was on it.
What movie?
I want to say it was They Live,
mm-hmm.
but I think They Live is actually streaming on like Peacock or something. But
I was just thrilled the other day to find out that every season and every episode of Destination Truth, the sci-fi travel adventure show starring Josh Gates, world's most adorable man, and like that show hasn't been streaming on anything for years. That show has been unavailable to stream, and I fucking loved that show. And when I saw that it was on there, I got so excited and immediately called our son in and was like, we've got a new spooky, sit down. And made him watch one of my favorite episodes. And he was super into it too. Mm-hmm. On the one hand, streaming can be great. But on the other hand, going back to it, it's going to suck when you don't own the physical copies of the things that you own, right? Like everything can't be digital, you know, because sometimes you're not going to be able to find something. It was sort of like these days trying to find Dogma anywhere. You couldn't forever. And Kevin Smith finally got the rights back.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Officially?
I mean, everybody said he hasn't said anything about it yet, which I find surprising, but everybody has been talking about how he's gotten the rights back, and I'm so excited for that.
We were talking about Tubi for a second, and I figured out it was because when I was editing Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I got to the part about us talking about Leonardo DiCaprio being in the FBI TV show.
Yes.
And so I wanted to look up the original version of that episode with Burt Reynolds. And so I found it on Tubi and went and showed Maggie.
I remember watching it.
Yeah, just seeing Burt Reynolds, because I had only ever seen Leonardo DiCaprio's version.
And it was funny because Burt Reynolds looks so much like Leonardo DiCaprio and vice versa. It wasn't hard for them to slip in Leo in that scene.
Abigail was nominated for 6 awards. The majority of them were for the Fangoria Chainsaw Awards.
Yeah, this isn't an Oscar nominee here.
Unfortunately, no.
Yeah.
Except I think there's some great special effects and makeup. So
yeah, there were.
So unfortunately, they did not win any of their nominees for Fangoria Chainsaw Awards because they were all pretty much in the Best Supporting Performance category, which of all the nominees, you had like Dave Bautista at Knock at the Cabin, Joe Bird in Talk to Me, Nicolas Cage for Renfield, Mia Goth for Infinity Pool. There's a lot of big horror people in this list.
Who won?
Alyssa Sutherland in Evil Dead Rise.
Huh.
Abigail had 3 nominees in that category.
Oh.
Catherine Newton, who played Sammy.
Dan Stevens.
Dan Stevens.
Yeah.
Of course.
Frank.
Of course, Dan Stevens was great. And then you've got Alicia Weir.
Mm-hmm. Who is Abigail?
Yeah. Yeah. Which, oh my God, she did such a good job.
Such a good fucking job. I'm always in awe when child actors can like slip themselves into that level of like madness,
like really
and
committing to
like that bitch committed,
going back and forth, like just her going back and forth from acting like a little kid scared to this ferocious animal.
Yeah,
is
but just
really
the fact
good.
that she had that range is
It's
good for
impressive.
her. Yeah, she's a little Irish actress, and
I don't recognize her from anything.
I wrote down in my notes, which might be a spoiler for how I felt about it. I don't think so, actually. I've been gushing about it pretty hard. But I wrote down, but honestly, I would die for Abigail. Like, I love her. She's mother. Is that what the kids are calling it these days?
I was really scared that the filmmakers were going to kill her off.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, this movie's about her, not the, like,
well,
I don't care as much about the humans.
Yeah.
You end up caring for a couple.
Yeah.
Like, you were sad to see them go, but.
Yes. Because Peter is my beloved big dumb idiot. I loved him so much. I'm glad that there was some Abigail redemption, I guess you could say, that she's not just a complete monster. Yeah, spoilers. There is only one survivor at the end of this movie. I guess technically 3, but 2 of them are vampires, so that doesn't really count. But so there's one human survivor of this story, and it is a bloody nightmare gore fest to get there, and it's so much fun.
Oh, it's so good. So much fun. Melissa Barrera plays the main character, Joey.
She does a great job. I know her most from In the Heights.
Oh, yeah. She's in the Heights. She's also the lead.
You were saying in the
she's
Scream
essentially
ones.
the new
Nev Campbell.
Yeah. So obviously, with
even
the,
though they
the
didn't
writers,
want to pay Nev Campbell to come back to make another movie, that's why she wasn't in the last one.
No.
Yeah.
Yes, I know. But the last one was one of the better ones since like 3.
I don't know. I only ever saw the first one, so.
The first one's a solid movie.
It is, actually.
Dan Stevens.
Dan fucking Stevens.
I love Dan Stevens so much.
He's so good in everything he does.
Everything he does.
Yeah. What a charmer. What a great guy. This character is so delightfully unlikable.
I didn't know
he loves it.
Yeah.
That motherfucker is eating
he was having
the scenery.
fun. Oh, he was having so much fun.
So much fucking
with this
fun.
character. Because he doesn't really play like a super villain.
No.
Not of this caliber that I've seen before.
Literally wrote down Dan Stevens is having the time of his life.
He's been very busy, especially this year with
very
Abigail. He was in Godzilla x Kong, which he was one of the better human elements of that movie. He was in Cuckoo, which I haven't seen yet, but have been really wanting to. He voiced in the English version of The Boy and the Heron. He had a voice in that one. So he's been...
Yeah, he was the Beast. He was Charles Xavier's dad in that Legion show.
Which I think Legion is how I really
got to know
who he was.
He was also,
I love him in Legion.
He was also, honestly, my favorite part of Eurovision, the Song of Ice and Fire. Because he plays the Russian singer who everyone expects to win, and he's so fucking good in it. Oh my god, I love him in that so much. It's not his singing voice, though. They dubbed him for that. But,
really?
Yeah, but that's okay, because they were going for a specific sound that I didn't think that Dan Stevens could actually pull off. But, it's good.
Catherine Newton played Sammy.
Who was in Ant-Man and the Wasp. She's our new Cassidy.
She is the new Cassidy.
Yeah. She's been in a handful of other things, too. She's a good little actress.
She was in Detective Pikachu movie. Handful of things. I'm sure her...
For the fact that this family loves Pokemon...
She was...
and loves Ryan Reynolds. We've only seen Detective Pikachu once, and we all just collectively went, oh, it was really good. And then I'm shocked that our kids weren't, like, obsessed with that film. Because that seems like it would have been a film that was right up their alley.
Another movie that I really liked her in that came out this year was Lisa Frankenstein.
Yeah, I've still been wanting to watch that with you.
She plays the titular character in that one as well. And I think you'd really dig it. It's still spooky season. We don't have to do it for the podcast, but we could watch it. William Catlett, who plays Rickles.
Don fucking Rickles.
I kind of bummed that he died off screen.
Yeah, well, yeah. I liked him a lot, but, you know, I knew he was going to be fodder as soon as he started to connect with Joey. Because I was like, oh... You know, if anybody is not knowing where the story was going, I was like, if anybody gets out of this alive, it's going to be her. And, like, he was just too good and pure somehow on this, you know, gang of criminals. His character was too pure, and I was like, yeah, he's definitely going to die. I guess he is to this movie what, like, a best friend in Scream is to being a best friend in Scream, right? You're going to like her. She's going to be innocent and fun, and she's going to die brutally, and you're going to be, like, really bummed about it. Like, that was Rickles' character. You're like, aw. He gave the main character humanity, and now it's gone. Oh, no. What's going to happen? You know, but I enjoyed him nonetheless. I don't recognize him from anything else.
No, there's a couple things that he's been in. Like, he was in... an episode of Lovecraft Country. He was a kind of a reoccurring character in Black Lightning,
which I've never seen. I didn't watch, but he was a good little actor, and I hope for the best for him to come. I found him believable. He's very handsome, and he's got freckles, and I love a freckle.
And now we've got Kevin Durant.
Fucking Kevin Durant. Fucking motherfucking Kevin Durant. I hated him in Lost. So fucking much.
Absolutely.
So much that every time I see him now, I'm like still viscerally angry about Kearney.
You son of
And I'm just like, you son of a bitch. And yet, every time I see him in something, I end up loving his character so goddamn much. I love him as Little John. in Robin Hood. It's so fucking... He's so good in that role. He was the MVP of this movie for me. Peter was so stupid and so much fun. He got to play his natural Quebec accent in this.
Quebec?
And it was just... I loved Peter so much. And I was devastated when he died. Especially because Sammy took him out after becoming Abigail's meat puppet. I was just so sad because he'd just been like, you're my friend. And then...
Him and Sammy were really cute together.
They were. And this whole cast has really good chemistry with each other. Yeah, Kevin Durant as Peter, I just fucking loved him in this role. Deeply.
And then we have Angus Cloud. I don't know him from anything else.
No, I will not watch Euphoria. And I didn't really recognize him from too much else. I knew of him mainly because of when he died, reaction
there was
to it.
There was a big reaction.
I was kind of vaguely aware of him before that in the way that I would see his name on BuzzFeed articles when talking about Euphoria. But that show is not going to be a show I ever watch, so I didn't bother. It is unfortunate that he died at 25 due to a drug overdose. By all accounts, seemed to be a really beloved guy and a really good guy. He just had his demons. I did not particularly like his acting in this movie.
No.
Because he was just playing, high and stoned and douchey the whole time.
Which he may have been in real life during filming.
Which I think that's the other thing, too, is knowing how he died, seeing him like this made it feel really kind of a
little icky.
A little icky. Yeah, and I just didn't really particularly think he was that good of an actor.
No.
I
was
not to speak ill of the dead, especially a dead man, I do not know. But I didn't enjoy him. until he died, and then I enjoyed what became of him.
Yeah, I was kind of happy because his character gets killed off first.
Yeah, and it's a spectacularly fun death scene.
It was a fun death scene.
Yeah. It was, one of like the good, creepy moments that made me jump a couple of times was in his death scene. But, his character's an asshole, and yeah, I wasn't unhappy to see him go. And
then finally, Giancarlo Esposito.
Just the fucking best at being Giancarlo.
Giancarlo Esposito.
Because every time I see him now, I'm just like, yeah, that's
your villain.
That's your villain.
He's gonna fuck you up somehow.
I want to see him in a comedy or in something that's lighthearted. I'm not going to say I would like to see him in a romance, but maybe I would like to see him in a romance. I want to see Giancarlo Esposito break out of the mold of creepy, villainous men. He was even a creepy, villainous man in Community.
Yes.
In that one episode that we saw him in and never saw him again. And I love the guy dearly, but it would be fun to see him break out of that mold a little bit and go off and do something. He looks like he's having fun in every role, so I'm not going to say looks like something like he's having fun, but something that is a different side of him. You know what I mean?
I was trying to find something that he had done recently that was a little more lighthearted and not the villain. And the closest that I'm seeing right now was that he played a character named Teddy Knight he was in Maxine as a lawyer.
Oh.
And he's still weird. And I mean, the way he talks, of course, is
like, for God's sakes, he plays Lex Luthor on the Harley Quinn cartoon. Like, the guy's got a type. It would be fun to see him in something fun and cute and, different.
So, the movie Abigail starts off as kind of a kidnapping.
Yeah, it's sort of your basic, gang of criminals unknown to each other are hired by a mysterious man to kidnap a young girl, the daughter of an important father, in hopes to get ransom.
Yes.
And, that's kind of that's the start of it. I think that we all knew going into it that Abigail is a vampire. They kind of put that right out on Front Street.
I mean, yeah, it was.
You would have to.
I mean, it would be the experience of watching this movie, not knowing that it's a vampire movie, like not seeing the trailer at all, and just watching it, and just not knowing what's going to happen.
But would we have seen it if we didn't know it was a vampire movie?
Exactly. We
wouldn't have. We would have just been like, all right, another kidnapping movie.
Yeah, I don't care.
Not really.
The trailer's what sold it for us.
Because they were like, this bitch is a vampire, and people are going to die.
Yeah. And we were like,
boy, do they.
And we were like, sold.
Yes.
We want to experience that.
I'm here for this. Dan Stevens kind of plays the leader of this little band of miscreants. As the character Frank, he is such a dick. He's mean to everyone. He clashes pretty hard with Joey. She's the heart and she's the beating heart of this movie, right? Like, she's got a kid and she wants to get home to her kid and she loves him, but then, shit starts to go down. And I enjoyed their dynamic to an extent. It did get to be a little bit too much, I think, Dan Stevens' character. But as he becomes the eventual big bad, it does all make sense,
you turn an evil guy into a vampire, what are you going to get?
Yeah, pretty fucking evil vampire. Which shocked me in the first place that he let Joey's character go in the beginning. Or maybe at least he was giving her a head start.
He was playing with her.
Yeah, he was playing with her. He was a dick. Lots of mind games in this. And then, of course, Joey connects with Abigail because she's a mom and she feels for this little 12-year-old girl who's been kidnapped and is seemingly terrified. She does a really good job at playing.
She does a really good job playing terrified little girl.
But considering she's done this several times.
Yeah, she's like over 200 years old, I think, or has at least been doing this for a couple hundred years.
Yeah. Which I guess makes me wonder if she always goes through the same routine, right, of being kidnapped and then hunting, because she says she likes to play with her food. Yeah. And then Lambert, Giancarlo Esposito, is like, you're not the first people I brought here. So, considering how long she's been doing this, That's kind of a weird kink, is what I'm saying. The whole kidnapping thing.
Well, how do you get your food? You're going to get it from... And they all were tied to her father in one way or another.
Yeah.
Doing something upsetting.
Yeah, they
people
were
who were on the hit list.
betraying the family.
I mean, the whole thing of the movie is it's supposed to kind of mirror another movie that would have a mob boss sending out this Baba Yaga type character to go out and silently kill all these people that have wronged him.
And who's better than that than a fucking vampire?
Tiny vampire that
can turn invisible. Because she was invisible in the scene with, at least I always kind of understood her.
Like opening the door.
Yeah, when she kills Dean, Agnes Cloud.
You think she would have used that again later?
You would.
Especially like the flying as well. That could have kind of been handy later.
But somehow she got that door open somehow. So either she's got like magic powers or...
I was believing that somebody was in the house, Giancarlo Esposito, controlling things like that, making doors creepily open and stuff.
I guess you're right. They didn't really explain that to an extent.
No, they didn't.
Yeah, it's just like, it just is weird to me. And plus, like, what if things go wrong immediately? What if, like, they're in the truck and there's somebody that's like, oh, I'm going to kill her. Just like, it doesn't go perfectly every time, is all I'm saying.
Oh,
so I wonder at what point she reveals herself. Maybe I just want more Abigail movies. Like, I would watch at least one more where the whole movie is just her taking out. Now that we know the story, they could do a prequel where she just goes through everyone and there are no survivors.
They show you her filling that pool downstairs.
Oh, God, the pool.
You had a really big reaction to that pool.
So there's a pool in the basement filled with
like drained people.
Well, they were all decomposing.
All right.
Now shut up. It's hard for me. They were all liquidy, and they're all in there, and then fucking Sammy falls into it. So now she's in this fucking pool of human goo, and that is you are forever unclean in that situation.
I'm forever unclean!
There are not enough showers on this planet to make you feel human again after something like that. And I don't do well. Like, the gore and the blood was one thing. Like, seeing people literally explode was delightful and got a lot of cackles. The bloated bodies, I can't handle that shit. Like, that is too much for my stomach, clearly. And I had to just completely hide, and I retched a couple times.
Well, to change the subject, so you stop vomiting.
Well, you enjoyed that scene.
Oh, yeah, it was
and
fun.
you enjoyed my reaction to that scene.
Of course.
But that was the point where the movie was too much for me.
I love that's the moment, not the blood explosions.
Because I don't think that people actually explode like that, so it's fake and it's funny. But I imagine that is what a pool of decomposing humans would look like. And the idea of then having to be inside of that pool makes me want to die. So, yeah. People don't pop like balloons.
So at the beginning of the movie, we both made predictions on what we thought was going to happen by the end. My only prediction that I wrote at the beginning of the movie, and this was pretty much the moment that they walk into the house with Abigail.
Yeah.
So I was in the middle of writing it when they walked into the house with Abigail. I said, I think Lambert, Giancarlo Esposito's character, is bringing these people into the house for the girl to feed on. I bet the twist, I can't read my own handwriting. I bet the twist is that he knows these people are food, is what I wrote down. So essentially it's the same thing. Being like, he brought them in. He was the bait.
He was creepy enough at the beginning. And also the trailer kind of gives it away a little bit.
Sure.
But like, I just knew instantly.
I guess it does make sense that.
But again, that's the
these people are being led into a trap. Like,
but
the trailer showed the doors closing and locking and everything.
But even if it wasn't Giancarlo Esposito, it was still Giancarlo Esposito, who I'm like, there's your bad guy.
Of course.
There's the secret bad guy, because of course it's him. It's like when you're watching an episode of Law and Order and you see Adam Driver, you're like, bad guy.
I didn't know he was a vampire, though.
No, the fact that he was a vampire was a bit of a shock. I
just figured he was a human working for the vampires.
I thought that he was her dad.
Oh, okay, I can see that too.
Yeah, and since nobody knew what the
I was just
the
thinking
main
he was a
mob
helper.
boss.
I was thinking he was a helper because I figured she didn't have a dad.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know her dad was the vampire that turned her. And
that's what I assumed when she was like, my dad wanted a daughter, but he didn't. You know, like he made me, but as soon as she was like, my daddy wanted to have a daughter, but then he got bored of me and now he doesn't care about me. Like that in that moment, I sort of knew that she was telling the truth. So I wasn't shocked that the whole thing was about like this little girl trying to earn her father's love, which is weirdly, you know, touching for a movie
for a zombie movie.
Well, a vampire movie where people pop like water balloons.
I'm glad at the beginning as well that we got to spend some time with each character before all the mayhem happens and not introduce the monsters so quickly.
Yes.
Like actually let you know the relationships, the personalities, some exposition that was done well enough where
it was pretty clever
doing her own little Sherlock Holmes-y moment where guessing.
Sammy knows everything about all these people.
Just based off of the way they hold themselves or talk.
Yeah, it was very Sherlock Holmes, wasn't it? You know, like that was good exposition though. It was like they got you clocked in immediately. Like
and you immediately decide which characters you're gonna want to see last.
You can tell that Dean is really into Sammy and Sammy is not into him at all.
Right.
But Sammy connects with Peter in a really sweet way. And so you see the jealousy there and then you see, you know, kind of what comes of it all. You know, you can tell instantly that Frank and Joey don't like each other. Yeah, like I liked their dynamics. They had really good chemistry together, like I said before. And it was a lot of fun seeing them be carefree. And then it was a lot more fun seeing them when shit hits the fan.
Yeah.
Like, all of their reactions were very genuine to who those characters were. And fucking delightful. Just from beginning to end. I was sad to see Sammy and Peter die. You know, but... Oh, fuck, I love the way they did it.
Yeah.
Like...
Yeah.
When Sammy
the way Sammy explodes. Yeah.
And then the beat, because the movie is funny enough to then take the beat after a vampire has exploded all over two characters for them to react to it. You know, the characters they're aware of the gore. In fact, when Sammy comes digging out of the pool and she meets up with the group again, at one point Joey like smells her and is immediately like, what the fuck? Or just when Sammy leaves the movie and is leaving the mansion and her response is just, what the fuck? Because that would be your reaction after everything that this poor girl has gone through.
This was a night.
Like, and she doesn't even get the $7 million she was promised. Like,
no,
fuck.
all that.
Yeah.
And she gets to live.
She gets to live. Eventually, you know, everybody is picked off, and then there was one sort of style until it's really just Joey and Frank at the end. Essentially, I mean, not to give too much away, but essentially they discover, you know, the fact that this was, you know, they knew that this was like a plot to kill them. They thought it was from the big mob boss, you know, the father of Abigail. But it turns out that it was just Abigail being, you know, wacky herself. Giancarlo Esposito turns Frank into a vampire, is immediately murdered. It's a joy to see. And then Frank is now like the uber vampire, and Abigail and Joey have to team up to destroy him. And there were really good fighting stunts in this movie. Like, they were throwing people into stuff and you saw it crumble beneath them. The fighting was visceral and it was fun and it was gory and bloody and painful. Like, when Joey gets stabbed in the shoulder, like, oh, I felt that, man. It was so gross. But I really enjoyed the fight choreography and the stunt team in this film because they all did a fantastic job. Yeah. Watching Abigail like bounce around the house in her sparkly tutu, blood-soaked sparkly tutu.
When she did the kind of just ballerina moves, when she like jumped in the air over bodies and stuff.
She'd like do a pirouette. It's
so funny. That's what I love about this one. It is a horror comedy because the comedy isn't over the top.
No.
It's humorous the situation's humorous.
The blood is over the top.
The blood is over the top,
but it's so much fun.
It's so much fun. Every time somebody, it's fun because we all know basically what kind of weaknesses vampires have.
Yeah.
And each filmmaker that's done a vampire movie gets to choose which weaknesses are going to work on that vampire, whether it is garlic or
silver,
holy water.
It
never ends. But the main one that seems to be kept with every time is sunlight, unless they're Twilight, and stake through the heart.
Yeah.
And they're always really fun, and that's, Blade made that a lot of fun in those movies, especially, stake through the heart never gets old. Even the vampires in Blade had a very visceral reaction to being killed with silver or light.
Yeah.
So it is fun that when a vampire gets hit with light, they just explode. Or an appendage goes flying off or whatever it is. It was very creative, fun still because it was over the top. And some really scary moments. I mean, we both kind of jumped even when Dean was on the bed behind Sammy.
Yeah.
And turned on his lighter, and he's just sitting back there with a mask.
Yeah, that made me jump pretty hard.
That you're not expecting that.
No.
It's a good.
Although every time there was like something dark behind a character, I was sort of braced for it because the movie kind of leans heavily on that, like the somebody appearing out of the darkness. But even still, like the frights were genuinely frightening, and like I guess I have been kind of shitty on scary movies this month. Of the 4 of them, I liked 2 and disliked 2. But I understand why people like these films, right? It's fun to be scared. It's fun to be sitting in your living room watching something, and you know that you're safe, and you know that everything's okay. It's even, 11 o'clock in the morning. But you still get that little thing up your spine, and it's fun to be scared. For me, I guess those feelings that I want to feel are very specific.
You don't want to be overly...
I don't want to be anxious.
You don't want to be anxious.
Yeah.
You don't want to be overly scared.
No.
You don't want to be overly grossed out or disturbed.
No, I definitely don't want to... I mean, gross out is one thing. There's gross out like watching people get popped like balloons, and there's gross out like a pool full of human bodies.
Or slowly, watching somebody slowly saw their arm off.
No, I don't want that.
Or body horror where somebody's body splits open.
I think for me, I like it
births
when
a different clone version of themselves.
I don't like to watch movies where I feel like I've got to put myself into the characters and those characters are feeling pain. I don't want to, because my brain will already, my anxiety is such a cunt to me that I will literally be I will ruminate on, well, what if something very bad happened to me? And then I'm going to explicitly consider each detail as if it is actually happening to me. Like I'm reading a book that's detailing, and then this happens, and then that happens. And I will get lost in that thought. Or it's, what if X happened to our child? And then each emotion that they would feel, and then each emotion, like my brain already does that to me for fun. That I don't like to watch movies where I have to see that stuff, because then that's stuff that my brain is going to take and use against me when I'm having one of those really bad spirals that I get from time to time. I like the stuff that is so fantastical that I know it's fake. And and it's funny, and there is a bit of lightheartedness to it, and there's a bit of humanity, and there's at least somebody's gonna live, right? That's that's my jam. That's the kind of scare that I like to be.
Because I've got kids.
Yeah.
Sometimes seeing a kid on screen being hurt.
Yeah.
Or mistreated. It's not the best.
It's really hard.
Abigail was fun because I already knew what she was, and that the things that they were doing to her, even if Dan Stevens' character did punch her at the beginning, I don't think it would have hurt her. Not that, I mean, she's 200 years old in a 12-year-old's body. There are movies like the first It movie, of the recent It movies. There's a opening scene where a child is hurt.
Yeah, Georgie.
And
Poor Georgie.
Then there's a movie like Dr. Sleep, where they steal the souls of children, and the child actor that they had at the beginning of the movie, a kid having his soul stolen, did such a good job at feeling distressed and in pain that I had to stop it and like watch something else and go back to it later, because I envisioned my son being in a situation where he couldn't get help and being hurt like that.
Which, my brain already makes me think about for funsies while I'm like at work or trying to fall asleep or in the shower or watching a TV show with you. Like, those thoughts are so prevalent, and I don't let you know about them because I don't want you to worry about me and my crazy brain any more than you already do. That is kind of the main reason why I don't like horror films, is because I know I'm going to put myself into those shoes, no matter who they are. I'll spiral. And that scares me. And because they're scary and they scare me, like genuinely, but also because I will end up ruminating on a particularly horrific death and like wonder what it feels like and then fall down a really dark rabbit hole that like I've got to use Taylor Swift and cartoons and like hugs from you to drag my ass out of, you know.
Most of the time I can
handle it
because I know it's fake.
Yeah.
There is a movie that I have been avoiding from. Eli Roth has a movie called The Green Inferno.
Oh, I've heard about that.
About cannibalism.
Yeah,
and
which I can't do.
Filmed it on location with a tribe who has, in their past,
been known to cannibalize.
Cannibalism is prevalent.
Wasn't that all a ruse?
If it is or not, that's where my brain goes, and that's all I can think of is that these people are real.
Yeah.
And there's some violence that is really hard to stomach too, even though I know it's fake. Like Bone Tomahawk is
I'm
so viscerally
angry at you for making me watch that movie.
I didn't know it was going to be that movie.
Yeah, but you didn't let me turn it off. You didn't let me leave.
I wanted to see it.
But
you had already been watching, so you might as well finish it with me.
God, see, folks, what I have to put up with this
one. And I haven't seen it since. I know, obviously, you haven't. But
are you ever going to watch it again?
Probably.
Oh.
Probably.
No.
Now that I know what to expect.
Why?
Bored.
We need to find you a hobby.
I have plenty. I have plenty of hobbies to get my mind off of so many things.
Yeah. The movie ends.
Yes.
The bad guy is vanquished.
The bad guy.
There is a very tender moment between Joey and Abigail. And as Abigail...
because Joey helped Abigail defeat Vampire... Frank.
Yeah.
Vampire Frank.
Yeah. There's a sweet moment, Joey is set to leave, and then all of a sudden what appears is the father.
And we
have not met him.
Met him up until this point. Like, and the first thing you see is just his feet walking up there, and the way he's holding himself just from the waist down. The suit that he's wearing.
So excited to be like, who's it going to be?
Yeah, I was like, they're really doing this on purpose.
Yeah.
Like, he's either going to look super grotesque,
or he's going to be somebody.
Somebody that I know.
Yeah.
And I was leaning more towards
grotesque.
No, I was leaning more towards this has to be somebody I know.
I was too. At first I was like, is Nicolas Cage in this and I didn't know about it? Or I was like, who's in this film that I don't know who's in this film?
Because I hadn't.
No fucking clue.
I hadn't heard.
And then who appears on screen but, oh my God, the most beautiful man, Matthew Good.
Matthew Good.
And I sounded like Lucille Bluth seeing Gene Parmesan.
Gene Parmesan, how are you doing?
Gene! Oh, Gene, isn't he the best?
Gene was far from the best.
Very impressive. Thank you.
I love Matthew Good so much.
She always has.
I always have. And he's somebody that I share with Jesse. I have watched him in the worst things just to watch him because he is always the best part of something bad. I loved him in Watchmen. I think he did a great job as Ozymandias.
I think he did a great job as Ozymandias.
He was perfect for that role.
Adrian Veidt.
I loved him in The Crown season 2. He was such dick, and he was so good in that role. He's good in everything, and I'm always so happy. I even watched that awful show, A Discovery of Witches, for like 2.5 seasons. Well, no, actually 1.5 season, until I could not do it anymore. I was willing to go the distance for Matthew Good because he was the only good part about that show, and he had such good chemistry with the cardboard cutout that they hired to be an actress, the main character. Like, she was unbearable to watch, and that series was so fucking boring, but when Matthew Good was on it, he was everything. And I made it a season and a half, and I couldn't take it anymore. I literally was just like, I'm out. I can't do it. But yeah, seeing Matthew Good, and he was delightfully evil, and I loved him.
Oh, he played that vampire so well. So menacing.
Yeah.
I want to see a movie of him just being in a room with a bunch of people and just...
I know, right? Like, again, like, show me the Abigail prequel, and I would go the fuck out of it. And I think a lot of people would, too, because I feel like genuinely this is a movie that's been well liked by people.
It seemed like it
and
was,
even if it's
from
something
what I heard.
And I've been seeing a lot of my threads lately, people discovering it and just being like, holy shit, this movie's good. But yeah, fucking Matthew Good. Matthew Good and Dan Stevens were never in screen together, but that would have been very important to me to see those two men together. I also, I was wondering if he was like Dracula, but I don't think he is. I think he's just some ancient vampire who's decided that, he's going to become a crime boss. For funsies, I guess. What else are you going to do when you're immortal? Shit gets boring. Eventually, I guess.
This generation, I'm going to be a crime boss.
Yeah, why not? If you have forever. Next generation, farmer.
Hey, if every generation could just choose a new occupation in life. And,
yeah.
I guess that's how you keep it fresh and make it so that your loved ones don't ever see you die. For me, Abigail gets a solid 4. Delightful, too much fun. A genuine surprise. Like, I thought I was going to enjoy it, but I am genuinely surprised at how much I enjoyed it. How good it ended up being. Yeah. It was definitely over my expectations for sure. I knew it was being talked about in a good way. So I went into it probably going to be a lot of fun, but I think it was a lot more fun than I thought it would be. It's a solidly good time for a good time. October, November spooky movie. Yeah. Like, this isn't any time of year spooky movie. It's not just a Halloween thing. But if you haven't seen it, really do yourself a favor. Oh God, I hope you've seen it if you've gotten this far. But if you haven't, sorry to spoil the hell out of it for you. That was kind of your fault though. And go watch it. Yeah, I too would give it a 4. Yeah, so. I'm so hungry. Let's go make dinner. So, Maggie. Yes, Caveman. I have 2 questions for you. Hit it.
I want Oscar Isaac to breastfeed me.
I could listen to that forever. I was wondering what you're doing over there. Nothing. I'm not doing anything. So, first question. Would Oscar Isaac have made Abigail a better movie? I don't know. I think, yes, it would have been fun to see him in a horror comedy. So, I don't think it would have made it a better film, but I would have enjoyed it thoroughly. So, second question. Who would Oscar Isaac have played in Abigail? Well, he could have been the dad at the end. Father? Because I was going to say, could you mean the panning up and he's there with the teeth and the eyes? Daddy. I would have enjoyed that thoroughly. It would have been fun to see him in the Frank role, too. Dan Stevens does a phenomenal job, but I think Oscar Isaac would have had a lot of fun with that role also. I don't think he and Peter wouldn't have melded well together. I guess he could have been the sniper to Frank. Or, no, whatever his name was. Wrinkles? Oh, Rickles, yeah. Don Rickles? Don fucking Rickles. Who the fuck is Don Rickles? But yeah, it would have been a lot of fun. Can I hear the clip again?
I want Oscar Isaac to breastfeed me.
It makes me happy. has been the last of our spooky bonus episodes for October on Abigail. We hope that you enjoyed it as much as we enjoyed making it for you. We enjoyed doing all of these spooky episodes for you, but it will be nice next month to only have to do one bonus episode. It's a lot of work, y'all. Coming up next is our episode on Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, back to our regularly scheduled programs. If you miss any of our fun Halloween bonus episodes, feel free to go back and listen to them. They're a lot of fun, and we're just glad that you enjoyed this little series that we did for you guys. As always, you can find us on Instagram, Threads, and Letterboxd at MovieMinglePod. You can also find us on YouTube at MovieMinglePodcast, and you can write us all of your thoughts and questions at movieminglepod@gmail.com. We love getting your letters. Until next time, go grab a wooden stake and a little bit of sunlight and go mingle, friends. Bye! Ooh.
I ate his liver with some fava beans and a nice Chianti.
That the power of Christ compels you!
It's alive! It's alive! It's alive!
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
They're here.
Here's Johnny!